Hey everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher, doing take 2 because I accidentally deleted the first video. Go me. Okay, so, we've got a tiny little bit of haul. We've got whip updates galore. We've also got a couple of questions, not many, as well as, requests from y'all. So, let's dive on in. First off, how is everybody? Awesome. Alright, so, diving right on in, thanks everyone for your congratulations. We definitely appreciate them. I also really appreciate everyone who's bought something from the store this week to support me. We have officially paid for one ticket for between the two of us. So, one park ticket for one day of our honeymoon. That's pretty awesome. So, thank you to everyone who has. If you haven't, please go buy if you would like something. There are more designs that will be coming, don't worry. I'm kind of working out some of them still. So, yeah. Alright, so, my sale goes on through the 15th. So, and it's capital letters, August. Alright, so, moving right along, in search of good times and good news. The Q&A, several of you asked, would I be stitching something for myself? Or wedding sampler, I'm probably going to design it. I haven't seen any that I've really liked for the stitching. So I will probably be designing my own. Sandra Stitches asks, can I show in comparison the Bowen needles and regular needles? And actually, well, not the Bowen needles, but a petite versus the Bowen. So, it's actually not a Bowen, but it's the same size as one. Alright, so, by comparison, that is a regular needle. That's what the Bowens are. This is a petite. Comparison-wise, there you go. So, you do use less floss with a petite needle, and that's why I like them. Let's see, let's see, Shelly Riptoes wants to know if I'm doing anything Oz-related in the ceremony. Yes, my cake will be Oz-themed. I don't know beyond that, but that. Rosie Suze asks, do you get annoyed with everyone always assuming you want to see everything Wizard of Oz related? The answer is a shaky no. I don't really get annoyed. What I do get a little, because I think it's sweet that they've thought of me. Now, that said, generally, after an article about it has been published, I get updates for weeks about an article. That gets a little old, simply because a couple of weeks after it's been posted, I've seen it. I'm in enough Oz Facebook groups that these things get updated on the regular. But I do love that people think of me, so I would never ask them to stop. Let's see. Metal Scrappin' Chick, it was a paper floss card. I don't generally use them, to be totally honest. I just keep the skeins. or on bobbins or in bags or whatever, what have you. So I probably will just keep it as a cute little souvenir. Donna Levitt asks, do you think you might do the Brooks Alice in Wonderland next year? Very likely I might. I won't really decide until, until like around Thanksgiving what I'm going to be working on next year. So, don't really know yet. I do know I will be doing something Brooks every month. I just haven't decided for sure what. Every Stitch Counts asked if we have decided what we may wear, and will the puppy bear be involved? Yes, the puppy bear will be involved. He's going to be our ring bearer, but no, we have not figured out what we're wearing yet. Safe to say it will be clothing of some kind. Trisha, for those that read it, what? No Weeks to iWorks jokes? So, when I told her I was going to WDW for my honeymoon, she thought that I meant I was going to the Weeks Dye Works factory, and that she too had somehow decided that was a great honeymoon for both of us. Swept Away Stitcher asks, do I ever use a floor stand? I do, not very often, simply because the love seat is so deep that I'm awkwardly bent over it, but it is an Edmunds Universal floor stand, and I do really like it. So I would like to try a lap stand out, but I haven't really found one that I like that I'm willing to spend the money on, so there you go. Alright, so that's that. If you have questions, send them my way. Alright, next, we were at the teacher tool store to get stuff for him, for his classroom, and I found this. It's big. It is a file holder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this on the back of my stitch closet door and store my active whips in it. That gets them out of the way from my drawer, which means I now have more space for floss. And you all know I'm a flostitute, so anytime I can have space for floss is a good day for Garrett. Alrighty then. So, moving right along now to the whips. I'm kind of speeding through this a little bit because I've already kind of done this. So I apologize if I'm going fast, but it's almost 8 o'clock at night. So this week, I finished 3 SALs, and got some more done on some other things. So, the first one I finished Monday, which was the first. I finished Pedal Pusher's Oz SAL. So, part 2 is done. Again, not a ton of changes, at least not... there were some accidental ones. For instance, his feet are facing the wrong direction, and I kind of messed up the windows in here because I didn't count correctly. But, otherwise, the only changes I actually made were to the Yellow Brick Road. I did Weeks Dye Works Saffron. I made the Ruby Slippers metallic, and I made little stripy socks. And then I did metallic, actually DMC metallics, for the outer parts of all the flowers. And then I will put beads in the middle when I get to the end. So, and I'm also going to do the raindrops from part 1 as beads. Alright. Had to respond to that. Okay, so then the next thing I did was my Brooks books. This is Mrs. Winky, and she actually has a couple of colors that I swiped out of from Pedal Pusher, so I need to, I may do that tonight. I need to go through and replace those. But here's Miss Winky. There are bees and a stem and leaves to this flower. They will be done later because I'm going to have to attach them. I'm going to have to tack those on, and so I'm just going to wait until I'm actually finishing it. I replaced the white with Lemonade from Weeks Dye Works. so that it wasn't a pure white. But I think she's adorable. I've decided that this is a poppy and that she is a poppy picker extraordinaire. She wears this sunflower on her head because the smell of the sunflower will overpower the smell of poppies so that she can work with them and not fall asleep. I like coming up with backstories. Alright, the next up was magical creatures. And I'll show you the full thing at the end, but here it is, up close. I took out the butterfly dragonfly thing because I just didn't like it. The white for the unicorn's bodies is all Soie d'Alger Blanc. And then I used, for their manes and tails, I used from Dragonfly Lotus, and in order, Embers, Lemon Ice, H2O, Sprout, and Blurple. And then the pink down here is Carnation. And then I used varying different Krynics for the hooves and the rainbow. And yeah. This one actually stitched up a lot faster than I expected it would. When I saw all that white, I went, I'm going to be doing this for days. And I didn't. I started it Friday evening and finished it this afternoon. So, there we go. Only a little bit left to go. I am 3/4 of the way through with this one. So, that will be exciting to have done. It'll also be the first yearly stitch along I've actually finished. Don't tell anyone. Alright. Then, my work piece this month, primarily work piece, is Things Unseen by Lizzie Kate. So I got all of my underlines finished. And I got started on, that was where I ended, but so I started up here. I got this little square done, so I'm going to go down next. So I'm working on this at work during my lunch break, the border parts of it. Because borders can get boring and it's easy to do at work. However, if there's something that I'm working on that I'm close to a finish, or I want to try and get done a little quicker, it's going to work with me. So, in this case, that's actually going to happen tomorrow with my Disney Princess one. I started Cinderella, and that skirt is going to take forever. If I just sit or feel like it'll take forever, so I'm going to work on that at lunch tomorrow and probably Tuesday, and then I should have that done. So that's what I'll be taking to work. And then probably towards the end of the month, I'll take SAL up there just so I can do the border for part 3. And I may end up actually going ahead and doing the border for part 4 as well, because there's only going to be just that little bit left. But we'll see. I haven't decided yet. Alright. So that's all the whip updates. What am I going to work on this week? Well, obviously I'm going to work on Princess at lunch. The answer to that is I'm not sure. Possibly Blue Jeans and Daisies, because like I said, I want to get one motif done and one border, but after all that white, I'm kind of going no white, no white, no white. I may work on the Leslie Tier Oz. I may not. We'll see. May work on Cereal Bowl, the lady. We'll see. Or the Soda Stitch Alice, but that one actually has white in it, so it's probably going to go for another day or two. Now, the other situation, not really situation, I decided I want to restart the Storytime Sampler and do it for G2. Possibly, my goal would be to get it done by our official 1 year of being together is at the end of this month. But I would like to have it done, so I would like to have it done by this time next year. If I could get it done before the wedding, that would be awesome. Not gonna lie. Especially, and if not, then I definitely want to have it done by our first anniversary because it's the paper anniversary, and I think it's brilliant. And actually, that actually is a really good idea. I could wait or I can work on it here and there. So as long as I can get it done by March of 18, that's my end goal. If it's not done before then, but definitely by March 18, because that's the paper anniversary. That's clever. And I can give them each of the books that are in it. Anyhow, so I am going to replace Anne of Green Gables with The Great Gatsby. That was his idea. He knows what I'm doing, but he hasn't actually seen the actual pattern. And it was his idea to switch Anne of Green Gables out. So I don't know which fabric I'm going to do it on, and I'm going to warn those of you who've already put your way in. I'm probably also going to take pictures of my individual fabric and send it to you as well. 2 of them are Die Stitch Love, 32 counts. 1 is not. It's a 36 count R&R. So the first one is Fairy Whispers. And I only need a fat eighth for it, so Fairy Whispers. Then I've got Sandy Shores, which has been the most popular so far. And finally, Espresso from R&R Reproductions. So, I'm probably also going to post this in the Frosted Pumpkin group, possibly also in Stitch Mania. So, those are my 3 choices. So, weigh in, probably in a day or 2 I'll have my decision, but there you go. Alright, so I guess that wraps up that, and we'll talk about Oz. So this time, it's coloring books, because who doesn't associate coloring books with back to school, or maybe that's just me. So the first one, this one's from 1957. Or, this specific edition, actually, is probably a little later. This, I think... No, well, copyright 1957. This could have been printed a little bit later. I know it had a couple of revisions, and I know it's an earlier one because of its spine has Oz characters on it. It has 112 pages, and it gives a pretty straightforward adaptation of the story, with some very lovely drawings, like this one of Dorothy. And some very weird ones, like the picture of the tornado. This one was available as far late as 1982. The artist is unknown, not uncommon for coloring books, period. More recently, it's been clearer if it's not like a franchise, but if it's a non-franchise, they're beginning to get a little better about labeling. Then obviously the adult coloring book craze, you know who your artist is. So, The Wizard of Oz coloring book, 1957. So this is not the earliest coloring book. There was one that tied in with the MGM film, published by Whitman. I do not have that one. I have the storybook that the illustrations for the coloring book were taken from, but I don't have the coloring book itself. And I believe there may have also been a paint-by-numbers book that tied in with it. But activity books are a whole other category, and believe me, there are a lot of activity books out there. Paper doll activity books, they kind of go hand in hand, I think. So, anyhow, that's kind of it. So, next, we've got 3 more Oz coloring books coming, and lots more to come. So, let me know what you think color-wise is the best choice for the fabric, and I will see you all later.